DRS1. So these are just certain keywords that I use. Okay, but I mean, let's just say, what if we have, let's say subject 1 is talking about something with subject 2, right, in their head, so they're dreaming, and they say a certain conversation with elusive subject 2. Let's just say that they're at a park and they're eating ice cream. Okay, so let's just get some context beforehand, right? Let's say subject 2 and subject 1 was talking together. So right now, I mean, not right now, but let's just say today is yesterday. So what's happening is subject 1 and subject 2, they're talking together, right? They're like, oh, I want some ice cream, and they're like, yeah, let's go get ice cream together and whatnot, right? And they just have a brief discussion that they're gonna get ice cream together. They're gonna go on the park and get some ice cream and whatnot. Okay, that's interesting, right? And then they both go home, and then they pretty much distance each other from each other because they're pretty much having their own lives, right? So now we have this distinction between subject 1 and subject 2. Now let's just say that whenever you have so then subject 1 is gonna have like an event tomorrow, he's gonna know that like subconsciously he's gonna plant that in his head. Oh, I'm gonna go tomorrow and have some ice cream with subject 2. So now since that event has occurred, it didn't occur where the event didn't happen yet, but the event is planned. That itself is planned, and that is something that subject 1 knows. So there's a certain key towards it. There's a key, and the reason why I'm gonna say key is because let's say that now subject 1 is dreaming. Subject 1 goes to bed. It's night, and he's gonna go get some ice cream tomorrow, but he knows that, right? So he dreams, and let's say he wakes up in his dream, so he thinks that he's basically gonna go get some ice cream, right? And boom, elusive subject 2 comes into play, where they're basically getting ice cream together. And now subject 1 and elusive subject 2 doesn't know that they're getting ice cream, right? Because I mean they are getting ice cream, but the real subject 1 doesn't know that he's dreaming, but they are still getting ice cream, right? Yeah, they go to the park and go get some ice cream, and they say similar things together, right? Let's just say that subject 1 has a conversation about, with subject 2, elusive subject 2, about certain keywords, right? Let's just say trees so nice, and these are vague keywords, but let's get a little bit more specific, like, oh, I wonder if XYZ happened today. And this means that let's say XYZ is something about, let's say there's a mutual friend that's involved. So subject 1 and subject 2 both have a mutual friend. I'm going to draw a line right here, and let's say they're both connected to, like, I don't know, subject 3, and subject 3 is just a friend. It doesn't really matter, but let's just say that they both know beforehand, since they're friends, that subject 3 is involved. So subject 1 and elusive subject 2 have a conversation that says, oh, the trees are so nice, blah blah blah, and later along the line they say something like, oh, I wonder if XYZ like did some got some ice cream already. I wonder if we should bring XYZ, which is a subject 3, next time. So we have these implications, we have these certain keys that's implanted, right? But sorry, subject 1 and elusive subject 2 are having this conversation all together, right? And it's pretty much real, right? And then let's say that subject 1 and elusive subject 1, after they get their ice cream, they disembark, they just go on their own days and whatever, and subject 1 wakes up, right? And then subject 1 is going to be like, oh, this was just a dream, this never really happened. Now let's just say that most likely subject 1 would not recall this, because every day we do dream. We are in our REM state daily. It's just that we just don't recall our dream. So even though we dream, we don't recall it. So but let's just say subject 1 does. Let's say subject 1 remembers especially this part, because it's crucial to what's gonna happen next. So it remembers this portion right here, and subject 1 goes with subject 2 to the park, and subject 1 and subject 2 goes to the park together, and then boom, they eat ice cream, and subject 1 still remembers the dream in the back of his head. He had it there. Maybe he has a conversation with subject 2, and they be like, oh, I actually had a dream about us going there. What a coincidence, yada yada. But later along the line, subject 2 says, oh, the trees are so nice, and then subject 2 says, I wonder if XYZ happened here, or I wonder if XYZ got ice cream already, or whatever that subject 2, elusive subject 2 said in the head and the dream state. So now we have subject 2 mimicking what's happening with elusive subject 2. Now how is that possible? How did subject 2 say these stuff, like say the trees are so nice, I wonder if XYZ, which is how did subject 2 talk about subject 3 while elusive subject 2 did the same thing at the same time? Now this is kind of now subject 1 is just confused, like what's going on? This kind of feels like deja vu or whatever, right? Because maybe in some instances this is how deja vu can occur, even though it's not always the reason why, but in some instances it might. So subject 1 is confused. Now, subject 2 obviously doesn't know what's going on. Elusive subject 2 and subject 2 are complete different entities. They're complete different people. Or not even people, they're just complete different entities. Yeah, they're different, right? But how, in that instant, right, how did they say the same thing? How is that possible? Well, the reason why that happened is because since subject 1 knew subject 2 for a long time, subject 1 kind of built a subjective construction, a subjective key. Okay, we have a key right here. We have a key, and this is a key that subjective 1 possesses of subjective 2. Oh gosh. So after a lot of experience with subjective 2, subjective 1 kind of builds like a mental key, like a mental algorithm that's not really conscious, that you're not gonna like consciously like think of of that, oh, subject 2 does this, subject 2 does that, subject 2 does this and that, you know, you wouldn't like necessarily pick on or attune towards like the little nuances of subject 2, right? But you know, back in our heads, we always know what makes subject 2 subject 2. For instance, if we have twins, right? Let's say we have 2 twins and you're friends with one of the twin, right? And once you get to know one of the twin better, then you will know that the other twin, even though they look objectively the same, they have different subjective self. And now this kind of key is the reason how they distinguish between people. And this key is how they kind of understand and process the real subject. I mean, this is pretty much the way how sorry, I lost my train of thought. This is how subject 1 uses his own internal instrument to converse with subject 2, because subject 1 knows subject 2, and this key is kind of like running in the background. You know, this is a key, like an like sort of like an identification process, but not really. So this is a key that's kind of like building up as subject 1 subject 2 relationship grows, because now subject 1 kind of knows subject 2 to a point where, oh, well, subject 2 might do this and might do that. You know, since he's my friend, you know, he's probably gonna like this and like that. You know, he probably has certain niches or certain like interests that, you know, once you get to know that person a little better, then they'll know that, oh, you know, this person would rather do this and rather do that. You know, you get to know them better, you know. And this might not be accurate because this is a subjective tool. This right here, this key is not objective. This is subjective towards subject 1. This is what subjective 1 thinks of subjective 2, but this is not what subjective 1, I mean, this is not an accurate, 100% accurate representation of subject 2. And why? Because there is a certain limitation. We have our subjective reality, and this is our objective right here. Now, if we see that there is a fine line that distinguishes subjective from objective, and we won't really understand what is going on with subject 2 mind. And even though although all this time subject 1 knows about subject 2, there will always be a case where subject 1 will be wrong about subject 2. There will always be a case where subject 1 will never truly understand subject 1 to their most fundamental level. And this is why there's a physical detachment that occurs that refrains from subject 1 communicating with subject 2. If this was possible, then we could have elusive subject 2 merely accurately as subject 2. And this just means that whatever we think of elusive subject 2 is pretty much reality.